Hello and welcome back. In the last tutorial, part 2, I talked about how you could make this gradiated button, and I said some of the CSS was redundant. That is true. Some of the CSS can be actually taken away from our file, so let's look at that. Here's the CSS. So you'll see here I've quite a lot of duplicated CSS for this linear gradient and for this border radius property. So let's look to see if we can, if border radius is supported in most browsers. And a good website for that is a website called caniuse.com. So if you go to caniuse.com and type in here the property, the CSS property that you're looking for, and see how well it is supported. So you can see here, over here, it will be 96.76 percent supported. So that means that I don't have to really use the browser specific CSS. So I can take this out. So I'm going to take out the browser specific CSS for that. And let's see how well box shadow is supported, because I don't want to repeat this either. It'll make my CSS file a lot there'll be a lot less processing will have to be done. It won't be as large. So box shadow, how well is box shadow? And again, it's well supported as well. So I'm going to take out the browser specific CSS. I'm also going to do it for this linear gradient. Now background image obviously is well supported, so it's really this linear gradient kind of property you're looking for here. Linear gradient, how well is that supported? Not as well supported. Overall 96. I wonder what that plus 18 is. Let's see. Probably tells us all users, all tracked desktop. What is this? Partially supported. So that means partially supported, and this means fully supported. So I'll go ahead and I'll strip out the browser specific stuff for it as well. It makes my CSS file take up a lot less space, and it will mean it will load quicker as well. So I'm going to take that out and it will neaten it up, and I save that and see if it looks the same. Yep, and it works just the same. So just test it in a different browser and see if that works. Okay, back to this product page. I promised you that I was going to show you how to create an image slider for our product image so that we could show multiple product images. Well, all I've done is looked for an image slideshow tutorial on Google, and I went to W3 School's website and they've already built one. So why build one from scratch when somebody already has done the hard work? So they're usually called image slideshows or image carousels. What I want to do is copy out this HTML. So I'm going to copy this HTML here, back to Visual Studio, onto my single product page, and I'll find where my product image is, so where that column is, and it's here. So I'm going to paste that HTML into here. So let's just tab this over so we can see that it's inside the column. Just tab this over. Alright. And I want to reference some images. Now I have some images already saved. I have phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. 3 different images. So I'm going to change these images here to images / phase 1, phase 2 and phase 3. Alright, you should ideally put some some alt text on these. So I'll just say sample of phase 1. I'll just say first sample of phase 1 of phase arrangement, or whatever you want to put in there. We're just saying that there's different ways that these flowers in these vases can be arranged. Second sample. And the third sample. When you get the HTML code in, it should look something like this. The images will be stacked on top of each other until we get the CSS in also. So here's the CSS. We need to take these classes. Now I don't need this box size and border box. I already have that in my CSS file. Really what you could do is you could create a separate CSS file for this. I'll do that. So I'll create a separate CSS file for this, because it's not going to be loaded onto every page. So simple layout.css. I'll make a new CSS file here, and I'll just call it slideshow.css, and I'll paste that CSS in. So I need to reference that on my single product page.slideshow.css. So I copy this link here, and this is just going to be my slideshow.css. Really, when you have a lot of CSS files, you should put them into a CSS folder, but we've only got 2, and this slideshow.css is only going to be referenced in our single product template. So let's see what that looks like now with the CSS, and I don't see an image. Let's see if the JavaScript will make the image appear. So we need to go get the JavaScript, and I will take this JavaScript, copy it, and paste it in just before the closing body tag on that page, because we don't want the JavaScript to load first and to take up our load time of the page. We want it to load last, so it's the last thing that needs to load on the page. So I will paste it down here. So I'm just going to say script and paste my JavaScript in, and hopefully this will work. Let's see, maybe not. I might have to fix something. Yep, and it looks like it is working. So there we have it. We have a nice slideshow for our product. Now let's see if it's working. Yeah, it's working and it's responsive. Oh, but I have a problem. It is responsive, but the menu is going underneath this. So what I need to do is I'll need to add a Z index onto this menu. So let's go back to the menu CSS. Where is that? Let's have a look. Input, navbar, it's navbar. I'm going to add a Z index to this navbar. Z index, and I'm just going to put in 1001 here. And that should make sure that the navbar, yep, the navbar appears over the image, and that's working. Right, so that is our product page. I should just change this to our single product template. Contact, oops, I don't have contact there. Let's see what is wrong. Why did that get overwrote? So onto the contact page. If you look at the JavaScript that I supplied with the contact page, you'll see that Here in the JavaScript, I have name.focus. It should be lname for last name.focus. And I've added these return false statements to this conditional check as well, these conditional checks. So what you should have in the contact page is something like this. You click submit, you'll get an error message. So that's your contact page. And the last page, so that's our contact page, is checkout. So I just want to show you how you could style a checkout page, and I found a really good checkout page on W3 schools as well. So let me show you that. So what I would say is that Visual Studio Code is going to throw an error here, and it's going to say that the return checkout form, the return statement, can only be used within a function body. Just ignore this. It's fine. So ignore that. I want to show you this checkout page that I found on W3 Schools, a nice responsive checkout page that we can use in our design. So here it is, and it will stack nice and neatly. So let's copy the code for it. So let's copy the CSS, sorry, the HTML. Here's my HTML. I'll copy all of this, go back to my Visual Studio Code checkout, and I will paste it over this main area here. So that should all be inside main. Paste it in. Let's have a little look. See, it probably doesn't work the way we want it to work. And it's not working the way we want it to work yet because we need the CSS. So let's go get the CSS from W3 Schools. Now I don't need this class row. I've already got that in my CSS file. I'll need this class called 25. So all it's doing is just making 25% width columns, 50% width columns, 75% width columns, giving them some padding and some container. So I'm going to take these. I might leave this input text label. I already have some CSS, I think, for that. So I'll just copy these. These classes out here, put it into my CSS file. I'll put it, see, I already have that row. I put it in here under column. It makes sense. Control S on that, and let's see, has that tidied up? Yeah, looking good. Starting to look really good. Now you might want to add some margin onto this container, so let's do that. Let's add some margin onto that container. I think it's all wrapped in a container. Check out div class container. Yeah. So let's have a look. Maybe margin top. Margin top. Say 10px. Yep, and it's just pushed it away from the menu. Lovely. Is it being responsive for me? It is, and it looks all good. Now this doesn't look very good, so that is my button, so you need to go fix that. This all looks good. I might want to add some margin bottom as well onto that container. So there we go. There's a nice checkout page that suits our design. So I might need to look at that for why that is breaking, that text is breaking out. It's probably something to do with the 50% width on that button. So come up with a different value for that in the CSS. That is it. I think I've shown you all the product template. Sorry, the homepage, the product template with the carousel, the about page with a video, and a nice checkout page. Thank you very much for watching.